Growing up as an active member of the LDS Church, one of the most important lessons I learned was that God will always love His children with a great and unconditional love, and we should try and do the same. When I found out my friend Spencer was gay, my feelings of shock and disbelief were quite the understatement. I read and reread the email I don't know how many times. The quiet hum on my computer grew louder and louder as my face got closer and closer to the screen. Where were the signs? The signs I had never even been looking for. He had been the epitome of the best Mormon boy. I had so many questions for years. When did he first know? What about the church? It had been the very definition of who he was. How lonely had this been for him to keep such a huge secret for so long? When I started this journey in finding out these answers, I wasn't prepared for the emotions that came inside myself. One of the greatest lessons I learned from Spencer and Dustin was told perfectly by Marvin J. Ashton, who said, "If we could look into each other's hearts and understand the unique challenges each one of us face, I think we would treat each other more gently, with more love, patience, tolerance, and care."
I knew I was gay probably my whole life. I felt feelings since I was a young child, even to some of my earliest memories. I remember thinking about boys and, having crushes on classmates that were in first and second grade, and I don't know if that's normal or not, but I remember having a lot of experiences at a very young age.
So imagine, you're coming out, you're trying to figure out who you are, and all the stress of all that, and you're losing your whole world because the church is your world. We are raised to believe that it's our world. And your dad coming to you crying, who has only cried one other time at the death of, you feel like you are the next death in his life. And that is how they sort of reacted. My family had a really hard time at first.
I knew that it wasn't going away, but I basically made a deal with God, and I said, I will put 2 years of my life away for you, and I will serve a totally faithful, honorable mission if you'll just take this away from me. And I did, and I put the gay thing in a little box for 2 years, and it didn't go away. And in fact, when I got home from my mission, it was worse.
I don't know what comes next because I thought I did, and I was wrong about so many other things. I was wrong about how to fix myself. I was wrong about the questions to ask, that I realized that I don't know the answer now. I don't know what comes next for me and for Spencer and for people like us. I don't know, but I do know that I'm still loved.
Yes, I felt very lonely growing up on one hand because I had absolutely no one to talk to about the most core parts of me that were the scariest and that I didn't know how to navigate. Everything else that was superficial and that I was supposed to do, everything was great. I had all the support in the world and I had friends and church, community, family, everybody rallied around that, but this was always not something that I ever felt like I could divulge, and so I felt very alone, and it was very scary. If I were to be able to give advice to someone who has been in the same situation as me, it's hard to say this, but I would say several things. One, that to have faith that it will get better, that they're not alone, that they're not the only one that has gone through this or that will go through it.
And you just eventually learn that you don't have to be fixed. And I had experiences that kind of told me that as well. Spencer has a really private one, and I do too, which it's almost the same, to be honest. I had spent so many years of my life praying and asking Heavenly Father to take it away from me. Please take this thing away from me. Please fix my broken soul. Fix it. And so shortly after I came out, I finally, kind of in exhaustion, prayed one night, and I was like, Heavenly Father, am I wrong? Am I praying for the wrong thing? Am I not supposed to be fixed from this? did you make me the way you wanted me? And I got my answer. And it was the first time ever asking a question in correlation with this that I got an answer, and it's kept me going through the rest of the years that were really hard with my family and with the friends that I once had and with church, and that answer has kept me going.